Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Powerful Perspectives. Sounds a bit strange to say, but here we are. So obviously the first question is, what am I doing? Why am I here? Why am I talking to the camera? So I think the fundamental point is, for a long time, I'm only 19, I'm still very young, but for a long time I've thought that perspectives, how you view the world basically informs your experience of the world. Of course, that's very different for different people, but I have found in my own personal life, and a lot of people I've listened to, talked to, met, also experience the same thing. So I think, as someone who shares that view, the ability to share perspectives I have encountered and find interesting, I think is a really powerful thing to do. I think another really important thing is there's so many experts these days, and it's important to have experts, and it's important to have people who know what they're talking about, right? But I think it can feel a bit intimidating sometimes. I know me personally, it's like you hear someone speak with authority, and you think, oh well, they must be right? It doesn't mean they're right. They know a lot more, a lot more than I would about the situation, but it doesn't mean they're correct. And I think what I'm trying to offer is a different way in kind of thing. So I do think that it can come off a little bit intimidating, no matter where you are kind of in your journey of exploring history, exploring philosophy, exploring kind of how that ties into self-help. And I think self-help as a genre has got not negative connotations, but not great connotations also. Because the thing for me, and I know a lot of people say, history, well, that's good for what you're going to do with it, it's in the past, just, well, what's the point? And for me, the point of history and the point of philosophy is, how can it impact your everyday life? And, not everything you read about history is going to impact your everyday life. Do you know what I mean? I'm very passionate about the Roman Empire. Do you mean understanding the makeup of, imperial courtiers not help me fucking, operate and make mates. I mean, if anything, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't get invited to any parties. But I do think that generally exposing yourself to more different perspectives is always going to enrich your life. And if you always view learning things as, okay, how can it impact, or this is what I do anyway, how can this impact my everyday life and how I view the world? I'm reading a really interesting book at the minute called Power of Subconscious Mind, and it is, it really hammers home, and I would very much recommend it. I'll probably do a video on it, to be honest, where I'll link it in the description. And the point of it is your thoughts define who you are. Do you know what I mean? If you accept something, then it starts to change your reality and your experience. And I think, we get lost in life, in not generally speaking. Well, we do as well, but that's not what I mean. It's kind of, we get lost in the everyday kind of, back and forth grind of life. And I think, to really think, what perspectives do I hold? How grounded are they? And am I exposing myself to new perspectives? Because really, the stronger your perspectives are, the more well-rounded and more grounded your perspectives are, the richer you have, the more possibility you have to live a rich life, which, not rich in pocket, but rich in spirit and rich in energy. I think that's the main thing anyway. I know when I am exposed to a new perspective and I really internalise that and really change that, it's exciting. I think it's really exciting. And who doesn't want that? Do you know what I mean? So that's part of why I'm doing this. Yeah, I think, what's my proposition? Because there's a lot of people who sit there and talk, I watch quite a few of them. So why me, right? It's a strange question to ask, because you have to get slightly egotistical, but we'll see. See how that goes. I think, as I say, going back to the point about an expert, I'm not an expert at all, right? I'm only 19, I'm still a child, basically. So I don't claim to be an expert. What I am saying is, look, I may not know everything about this, but I'm interested. And I'm also interested to share this with you who are watching this video right now. And what I'm saying is, I'm someone who's looking at this stuff. So let's look at it together, right? It's more of a cooperative than me, up here dispersing information, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Do you know what I mean? That's how I learn a lot. But I think discussion's really important, you know, and reciprocity. You know, I'm saying, look, I look to be your way in, potentially, or a way to further conversations, right? Because I think, as I say, it can be quite intimidating, quite off-putting. But I'm saying, I'm just, a standard normal guy at uni who's interested in this stuff. You don't have to be, any of those things. All you have to be is vaguely interested in the ideas, and who knows where it'll take you. And I'll hopefully be able to, provide new perspectives, maybe challenge some of your perspectives, maybe affirm some of your perspectives, and give you things where I've gone, well, I've looked at this. If you find this interesting, this is what I thought was interesting, and then if you go there, and you'll find new things, and then you can feed that back, and then we can grow together. So it's very much a case of, I'm not an expert. I'm someone trying to work it out myself, or not myself, but I'm trying to work it out actively currently. And I would really appreciate if you came on that journey with me. So yeah, no, that's I think, my proposition as to why watch me. And I think a great example of that is, I remember, and it sounds really kind of intellectually, stuffy or whatever, but it's not really. So we were studying Plato in the symposium, and we wrote an essay on the symposium, right? And I sent it off to a mate, and they were like, oh, because I said, do you fancy reading it, right? I thought it was quite, I enjoyed writing it, and obviously, I'm not the best essay writer in the world, so it wasn't like it was anything groundbreaking. And it was, they said, oh yeah, I'll have a look at that, and then said to me, I can't get into it, it's too dense, right? And that may be due to my writing style, which I'll definitely work on. But I think it's a shame because, the symposium is about the nature of love, which is really important, right? How you love, how you choose to love. And I've certainly thought about that a lot, in my life in the last few years, and I've certainly got it wrong. Hopefully some of it right, and, I'll continue to do that. But I think that is a perspective which is so powerful. It changed the way I think about the nature of love, and that's really important. Maybe not to my day-to-day life, but in some ways, yes. And in my long term, it's very important. And for someone like my mate who's intelligent person, it's nothing to do with how smart you are at all. I don't believe that at all, right? It's just they themselves decided that it wasn't for them, right? And not everyone has to be into it. It's not about saying, oh, everyone has to love this. It's more, if it wasn't that intimidating, I genuinely believe that their perspective would have been enriched, right? And even if they thought it was bollocks, they could throw it out. But my goal is to give you the opportunity to call it bollocks, because I don't think you can do that without getting involved with it beforehand, right? And you may think this is waffle. Who knows, right? But what I ask is you give me the chance, to hopefully prove to you that it's not, and even if it is, do you know what I mean? You'll stick around a little bit to work it out anyway. So there we go. So I think this is just a short one, an introductory one. So not all my videos will work like this, because this is kind of just an introduction to me, who I am. Not loads of personal stuff, but why I'm doing this. My promise to you. So what am I committing to? And it's very much sharing with you perspectives which hopefully are powerful, right? And they make you think, or they give you the ability to reflect and to think about things like that. And I'm not saying I understand this and this is how it is. I'm saying, look, this is what I'm interested in, or this is something which I've seen which has made me think, and here we go, right? And it can be a discussion. You're very welcome to send me an email, to send me a DM, to comment, and I will get back to them, and I will engage with it, right? Because, as I say, we're doing this together. It's not a one-way thing. It's a two-way thing, 100%, right? Because the more you interact with me, the more I can understand, the more you can understand, and then we grow together, right? Because I think a discussion and a discourse is not a discussion and discourse if it's one way. It needs to be two ways, or always better if it's two ways, and that's what I'm excited about. I think, yeah, that's how I would sum it up, to be honest. And I look forward to providing this to you, and that's my promise in terms of, I'm interested in history and philosophy and how that can inform your daily perspectives and your habitual thinking, and how that then impacts your life. So that is what I promised to provide in different forms. You know, some will be leading more into kind of philosophical schools of thought, you know, like Platonism and the theory of forms, and kind of Taoism and Nietzsche, and, you know, big philosophical figures and movements and ideas and religions, in the case of Taoism. And some of them will just be ways of thinking, right? So it doesn't have to be all kind of high-minded intellectual shit. You know, some of it will be kind of just ideas about how you view things, and it doesn't always have to be tied to a doctrine or a belief system or something like that. It doesn't always have to be so deeply rooted. Sometimes it'll be using history. Do you know what I mean? How do we look at this? How do we look at that? How does that shape our interests, right? And I'm very welcome to suggestions of things you want to discuss and look at and things like that. So yeah, I think, you know, this is just video one. You know, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.